Hello students, welcome back to your class. Today we are going to discuss the third part, that is the age of revolutions. The age of revolutions, that is during the 1830 to 1848, during this period of time there were lots of revolutions throughout Europe. In various European countries there were various revolutions which grew up, and that all were for their nationalism, to gain their freedom. In July 1830, the Bourbon kings were overthrown by the liberal revolutionaries who installed a constitutional monarchy with Louis Philippe at its head. Louis Philippe was the head of the monarchy, and thus the constitutional monarchy came into being. How? It was done by overthrowing the Bourbon kings. There was liberal revolutionaries who did such things. The July Revolution sparked an uprising in Brussels, which led to Belgium breaking away from the United Kingdom of Netherlands. From Netherlands, Belgium slowly broke out. They came out of it. And in 1821, the Greeks, they also struggled for independence. So we are going to read all these various revolutions during this 18 years. The first point which is to be discussed is the romantic imagination and the national feeling. There was various culture which played an important role in creating the idea of the nation. Art and poetry, stories and music also helped express the shape and also shape of the nationalist feeling. There was development throughout Europe, but each and every development was headed towards nationalism. The Romanticism was a cultural movement among all this. So, what Romanticism has brought to the life was through various poetries, stories, or music. Romanticism itself is a cultural movement which sought to develop a particular form of national sentiment. There was a form of national sentiment which was actually to be instigated by the Romanticism. Language also played an important role in developing the national sentiments. How the national sentiments were provoked? The people who used to speak in French, they were instigated in French. People who used to speak Polish, they were instigated in Polish. So this was the way the language, it played an important role in giving romanticism or in spreading romanticism among the people or among the masses. There was also an emphasis which was put into the vernacular language. The vernacular language of the people were given much more importance, and thus there was a complete change in the literary works also. By the end of the 18th century, Poland was divided by Russia, Prussia, and the Austria. All these great powers have eventually divided Poland into their own territory. Though Poland itself was not an self-depending territory, but still the nationalism among the people were prevailed by the music or through language. Karol Kurpinski, for example, celebrated the national struggle through his operas and music, turning folk dances like the Polonaise and mazurka into nationalist symbol. So in this way, the music or language, they were put forward to be a form of or a symbol of nationalism. Russian language was imposed everywhere, and in 1831 an armed rebellion against Russian rule took place, which was ultimately crushed. Even against the Russian, there was an rebellion which took up, which put its head up, but it was completely crushed in 1831. Next, hunger, hardship, and popular revolt. Wherever you find a revolution, it results to hunger, hardship. These are the two bases of any revolution. Wherever there is a revolution, the commoners, they are suffering from hunger, they are suffering from hardship, and these are the problems which are always faced by the commoners. It was nothing different in 19th century Europe. It was same. There was an great economic hardship. The Europe or the European countries faced economic hardship in the 1830s. The first half of the 19th century, there was an enormous increase in population all over Europe. As there was increase in population, there was much more unemployment, there was much more need of job, as well as altogether it provides, there was an hardship in the economical state of the countries. There was complete hardship in the economical power of the countries of Europe. Along with the economy, the hunger, it is another main point of revolution or another main drawback of revolution. Hunger, it is the basis of life. We all need to get ourselves fed. We all need food to survive. But if you won't get any economical support, if there is an hardship in economy, then how can you be give yourself food? How can you provide yourself food? It is the best of any revolution that it will provide hunger. So Europe was nothing different from this point of view also. There was hunger throughout European countries, especially which was faced by the commoners. Because of the rise in population, the prices of the food also rose very high. There was a bad year of harvest in middle, which led to widespread pauperism in town as well as in the country. In 1848, the food shortages and widespread unemployment brought the population of Paris out on road. They were so badly affected by all these things that the people of Paris were forced to come onto road. Why the people were forced to come onto road? It was nothing. It was to earn their livelihood, to have the food which they need to feed themselves. This was the basis of life. Now comes the revolution of the rebels. Those who were facing hardship in their life, there was a time when they had nothing to do other than put on a revolution against the government. So, in 1848, a revolution was led by the educated middle class and it was underway, it was carried forward. Men and women of the liberal middle class demanded creation of a non-state on parliamentary principles. There was a constitution, freedom of press, and freedom of association. There was a freedom for everything. Constitution was made, the press, it got its freedom, it was free to print anything. There was freedom of association. Anybody can make their own association, own group for their own survival. A large number of people from the political association, they came together in Frankfurt. Why? To vote for an all German National Assembly. They demanded there should be an national assembly for a complete German country. All the Germany should have a single national assembly. That was what they came for. On 18th May 1848, 831 elected representatives, they marched to take their places in Frankfurt Parliament convent in the Church of St. Paul. In the Church of St. Paul, there was an parliament which was convent, and almost 831 elected representatives from all over Germany came marching to take up their own places there. The work they were given to do their work, to serve their country, they came up there. The constitution, which was then drafted for German nation, was headed by a monarchy, who was subjected to a parliament. The crown was offered to Frederick Wilhelm IV, who was the king of Prussia, was offered the crown. But what did he do? He rejected it, and he joined other monarchs to oppose the elected assembly. He joined the other monarchs because he wanted to oppose this elected assembly. The middle class dominated the parliament, and a large number of women participated in the liberal movement. In this liberal movement, there were huge number of women candidates who took part in this movement. Women, they formed their own political associations. They also founded newspapers and took active part in political meetings, demonstration, but they were still denied suffrage rights during the election of the assembly. Though they got all these privileges, still they were banned from one privilege, that was they were denied suffrage rights during the election of the assembly. In the year which came after 1848, the autocratic monarchies of Central and the Eastern Europe began to introduce the changes that had already taken place in Western Europe before 1815. Thus, the serfdom and bonded labor were abolished both in Habsburg dominions as well as in Russia. So that's for your second part, students. Your third part will be coming soon. So go through this. That's all. Thank you and have a nice day.